Welcome back. So it's been a while since my last update, and this time I'm going to give you some nuts and bolts of the carnivore diet and how it's going with me being a type 1 diabetic. And I think a lot applies to everyone, just some more specific things that I have to deal with on a personal level. But I think generally speaking, my experiences apply pretty much to everyone on the carnivore diet. So nothing totally type 1 diabetic specific that I don't think will be boring for other people to listen to. And then also, because I'm always interested in the psychological aspect, because I think that just drives everything, whether it's carnivore diet or, just life in general. Your motivations and the psychological aspects of what you're doing are just of primary importance. So I'll start off with just the nuts and bolts of things. So if you remember back to my other videos, my latest videos, I had a couple really dangerous experiences with hitting a blood vessel and taking my fast acting insulin. So rarely this happens with Tresiba. It used to happen a lot with Lantus. That was probably the worst insulin that I've ever been on. But it rarely happens with Tresiba, and every now and then will happen with my Humalog, which is the fast acting insulin. But for some reason, I've had like um, two or three of these in a row. And I'm thinking it might have something to do with me dropping some body fat, maybe getting more lean. I'm not totally sure, but I'm trying to take some measures to counteract that. Anyway, one of the biggest struggles with that is when I'm keeping my blood sugar in a very tight range. Let's just say, for argument's sake, I keep my blood sugar at 100, and a normal person's blood sugar is anywhere from, well, we'll say like 60 to 120. It's a broad range. 80 to 120 is probably more realistic, but let's just say 60 to 120. But for a diabetic, let's say that the top of my range for a lot of diabetics is 180. And before carnivore diet, back when, actually even longer ago, when really low carb was not even that big of a thing, carnivore diet was definitely not much of a thing. My blood sugar would spike above 300 all the time. So just imagine, let's say your blood sugar is 300 versus 100. You hit a blood vessel, your blood sugar drops 100 points in 15 minutes because it amplifies the amount of insulin and it makes it all hit your body all at once. So you go from 300 to 200. Scary still, will still make you feel bad, but not life threatening, and you have time to correct it. Now, let's say that you start out and your blood sugar is 100 and you hit a blood vessel. You have to be exponentially more careful because you have very little cushion there before you pass out and possibly die. So there's a doctor, Dr. Bernstein, you can look him up online, older gentleman who's had type 1 diabetes forever, has excellent info, and he terms it the law of small numbers. And so one way to mitigate this is small amounts of insulin, especially when you're in a tight range. But that does not take away the danger, the total danger of having a massive reaction and going lower quicker. So one of the things I've been dealing with is the fear of going low too fast. So I actually loosened up a little bit on being so strict with myself. It's not that I want to eat carbs. In fact, every time I have low blood sugar and I eat carbs, I remember why I don't want to eat carbs. So there's no real temptation there, or um, there's nothing there that I'm like, oh, I'm not sure if carnivore is right for me, or I really, really want to eat pasta or anything like that. I definitely don't want to do those things. But what I've found is that fear after having hit blood vessels a few times and having some scary experiences with that, if I'm easier with myself about eating some slices of apple or eating a few Smarties to get my blood sugar up, it actually makes my blood sugar control more tight and better because I'm not being so militant about I cannot have carbs. That just gets me into too much trouble. So that's been a definite learning experience. And if you're not diabetic, I think there are also some applications there as well. The one thing you have to worry about is triggering those hormones if you're not diabetic. If you're triggering those hormones based on insulin spikes and having a cheat meal or anything sweet to taste, you have to be very careful that you're not going to go over the edge and that you can control yourself. So that would be my only big caveat. But if you're torturing yourself to stay carnivore, I would suggest that that might be the wrong way to do things. Having one slice of it, and I'm not talking about having pie or a pound of pasta and that kind of thing. But if you're torturing yourself to stay as strict as possible, I think that's probably a recipe for going off the deep end versus, hey, if I want to have one slice of apple because I just felt like having a sweet taste in my mouth, or if I wanted to have a sip of a Diet Coke, or no, it's not ideal, but you're a human being, and if that's what it takes to actually go long term and then stop wanting those things in the long term and you're carnivore in the long term, I think that's an extremely fair trade-off. But again, you have to just be careful and know yourself and know, is it like being an alcoholic and having a sip of beer and then you get totally drunk and wind up, in detox at the police department? Or are you not an addictive personality in terms of sweets and you can have a sweet taste and be done with it and it actually recharges your experience? Only you can only you can know those things. So I'm still going strong on the carnivore diet. I have lost a good amount of body fat. I don't really weigh myself or do any measurements, but I can just tell like there's some jeans that I've worn that just simply don't fit anymore. My strength has gone up, my stamina has gone up. We had a big snowstorm in Colorado, not big, but significant snowstorm in Colorado a few days ago, and I shoveled my house and both my neighbors' houses because I was just feeling good, and I have elderly neighbors, so they need it. But um, just as an example of, I just feel more fit. I just feel more alert, more fit, just feel better, even with the challenges of blood sugar and all that kind of thing. I'm experiencing just massive benefits of staying on this diet. So the temptation to do anything in terms of going off the diet has continued to become less and less, especially like I said, if I have hypoglycemia and I'm forced to have something sweet, it just doesn't really do anything for me anymore. And I know that's an empty, it's kind of like a black hole of never being satiated. Whereas if I eat a carnivore meal, if I'm hungry and I eat a big carnivore meal, I am full. I'm done. I can eat so many carbs that it just never makes me full and I'm just hungry again in like 30 minutes or an hour. So I think as you embark on the carnivore diet, you will have times when you cheat. I don't think I have heard of anyone who has not had a cheat day or around the holidays had something. But I think as you have those experiences, I think it makes you stronger. It makes you identify with the reasons why you started this in the first place even more. So just something to think about. I know a lot of people are doing challenges. I'm watching a lot of other people and their successes and struggles, and every now and then I'll comment and just kind of just give someone some, not advice because I don't like giving advice, but just some encouragement and just say my main message to people is you're worth it. Um, you're worth the struggle. You are worth going through all the withdrawal and pain to be healthy and to feel good. And that's kind of a good segue into the second part of the video that I wanted to get into, which is hopefully you don't, and I'm not saying everybody will, but most likely you're going to lose people. You're going to lose either friends or family members or um, acquaintances, whatever it might be, when you decide that you are worth it. and that you're making this decision to change your life in every aspect, your health, your diet, your professional life, your personal life. I think you're going to find that when you start caring about yourself, not because of anything external, not because of your wife or husband, not because of your parents, your friends, not because of your kids. I know that's popular to say, I'm doing this for my kids. That can be an aspect, but this has to come within. You have to want to live and be healthy from within for yourself. And yes, your family and your friends and your kids, all that is part of it, but you have to really love yourself. Find a way to love yourself and put that energy in just for you, and then let it expand to other reasons for other people. So you have to be prepared that you're probably going to lose some people. There are going to be some friends or family that might ridicule you, might disagree with you. There might be some who totally stop being friendly with you or hanging out with you or talking with you. And you have to learn to be okay with that because new friends will arise, new relationships with maybe those same family members or new family members or new friends will evolve. But I just want to put it out there that you might lose some people. That's something that you might have to deal with. There's a bunch of different things that you might have to let go of, both people, circumstances, everything. And your life will change for the better and it will be worth it. But it's not going to be simple and it's not going to just be smooth. And I have seen some people make exuberant videos about the carnivore diet. You know, a lot of times this is when people first start and they just think everything will be healed, all my prior problems are gone, and I'm done. And this is the answer. This is the holy grail, and it's all over. And I found it. It's never that simple. It's never just that. So it is wonderful and it is transformative. And I think in many ways it is the holy grail for a lot of people to change so many things. But that doesn't mean you're not going to have challenges and failures and just massive things to deal with as you improve all those things that maybe for years or even decades you've ignored or let go. I can definitely say that I worry that some of the damage that I've done to my body in the past can't be healed. That I found out about low carb, carnivore, etc. too late. And that might be the case, but it doesn't mean I'm not going to do it. And it doesn't mean I'm not going to either halt or reverse some of those things that did happen because of the past. So, again, these are the psychological things that I think sometimes are overlooked. Yes, there are all the physical benefits, all the physical challenges, but the psychological aspect is what gets you through in the end. If you have an awareness of these things that might pop up for you based on other people's experiences and then your experiences, it's going to make it even that much more of a difficult thing to knock you off your track. So there's a couple of other things I forget where I wanted to go with, but those main two things, the nuts and bolts about where I've been and where I'm going, and the psychological aspect, those are the two huge things. So I took some time off making videos because, like I said, those were, I hate to use the word traumatic because I've been through a lot of traumatic things. And these were definitely bad experiences, but I'm not going to use the word traumatic. But the low blood sugar incidents and the hitting the blood vessels and that kind of thing, I needed a bit of a break from making videos so that I could really just figure things out and slow down. And again, nothing wrong with the diet. I'm not off the diet. I don't want to go off the diet. Um, and yes, it's a diet because it's what you're eating. I don't mean it as a diet as in something temporary, but it's just that's what a diet is. Um, for me, this is something permanent. So I'm not going back on anything, but there are challenges for diabetics that are significantly different than others, and I just needed that little. little break there. So again, I appreciate all the views. I feel like some of my videos, some of the last few videos have gotten maybe shadow banned or throttled or something because some of the videos I get, the algorithms help, and it's like 2 days and there's like 1,500 views at a minimum, and then other times I feel like the algorithm's like, nah, we're not going to show that one, and there's like 50 views. Not a big deal either way, but anything could do that. The thumbnail, um, the title, anything. So as much as you can, if you could like, subscribe, share, definitely comment, even if it's just something simple that I've heard helps the algorithm get things out there. So definitely still trying to grow the channel and definitely working on some other YouTube channels to see maybe if a more philosophical, spiritual um, type of content, something that I'm drawn to, would be popular. So I'm trying different things, but this is definitely my main channel and main push um, right now. So I definitely appreciate all the support, and I try to comment on other people's videos and like them, and just kind of support the community. So it's all free. I don't have to pay to like anybody's video, to comment, to give a nice thought to someone, and my only payment is my time. So I appreciate your time, and hopefully I'll be back soon talking to you again and giving you some more positive updates, maybe some different aspects to think about. So hope you have a great day or night, depending on where you are.